Welcome everyone to this episode of the Caravan Tour of Terror, a show that finds us touring the globe through the medium of horrific, chilling and disturbing entertainment. My name's Donald, I'm the driver on this quest. Joining me at my side, as always, with a road atlas on his lap and teeth black as the night, is my navigator Ali. Say hello, Ali.
Konnichiwa.
Nice, bang. That's a little clue.
Said it as white as possible.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
As discussed last episode, we've gone a bit rogue. We're pretty cool. So we've gone a bit further afield. This is our gap year of sorts. How do you pronounce gap year properly?
Gapu year.
No, I was going for the posh English student.
I don't know.
Gap year.
Gap year. I'm on my gap year.
Yeah, that's good. We've landed in Japan, sans caravan. We've got a cozy tent and a dog-eared rough guide to first-time Asia, so we should be fine.
Yeah.
You've read all of first-time Asia, right?
Yeah. I read the section on China, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So we find ourselves in amongst some bushes at Mimo Susagawa Park. Yes! In Shimonoseki. Why here? Well, it's the setting of a famous battle in Japanese history, and our film today, Kwaidan, which is also apparently... Kwaidan means ghost story, but it should be Kaidan. But name of the movie is Kwaidan, so that's that. Details the haunting that ensued afterwards. So a cozy night's sleep for us, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Us big ghost believers.
Shimonoseki, I've probably pronounced that differently the two times I've attempted it, is known as the fugu capital for all the locally caught pufferfish. So I got some from a friendly man down at the docks. We can snack on that later to our heart's content.
Nah, I'm good. I've seen that Simpsons episode.
He lives.
That's the model of that story.
He lives.
He lives.
I trust the man. Didn't catch his name.
So did some people that ate Tide Pods. You gonna do that?
They just trusted. I don't know what they trusted.
A random man.
I'm surprised there wasn't a shit horror movie made about that. And now that I say that, maybe there was.
Or it's in production.
Yeah. We copyright it right now. Right, tell us about Kwaidan, please.
Kwaidan. Kwaidan is a 1964 anthology horror movie from Japan directed by Masaki Kobayashi. And yeah, this might be if not the oldest, one of the oldest movies we've watched so far.
Yeah. When was Cremator? I feel like that was later 60s.
Yeah.
Cremator, Hungary. Oh, film. Sorry. That was 1969. Yeah, this must be the earliest one, right?
Yeah.
Wait, when was The Devil Rides Out?
Yeah, let's just keep going. Yeah, that's a good point. That one might actually be
68. It's the earliest.
Wow, there you go.
Quite on the
So yeah,
list.
1964 Japanese anthology horror movie.
Now, I will just interrupt. Okay, I've interrupted you too early. But are we going to do one segment at a time, I assume? Just treat it as four separate movies, almost.
So I was going to run through... Thanks for doing this right in the middle, so I have to edit.
Talk about it. Well, not now.
So I was going to do a quick run through of all four and then talk about
all
each
four, one after another. No,
no, as in like very brief plot, very brief.
No.
Okay. Right, okay, we'll do it your way.
I think 1, bang, 2, bang, 3, bang, 4, bang, overall review rating, bang.
Cool. Can't wait to edit this. So yeah, Kwaidan is based on a collection of stories by... And ironically, after getting the Japanese director's name right, I am absolutely going to butcher the Irishman's name.
Yes.
Lafcadio Hearn. Lafcadio? Lafcadio.
You could call him Yakumo Koizumi. Yakumo Koizumi.
Yakumo Koizumi.
Thank you. And he's born in Greece also.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's
so
an
it's a
interesting
collection of stories based on Japanese folklore, written by a Greek-born Irishman who became a Japanese citizen and when he moved there and lived and died there.
10 a penny to an hour way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think he had a really horrible life as well. Like,
I
his
read
early
up.
life is just
Once I found out that it was an Irishman that like moved to Japan and wrote these stories, I read up on about him. It wasn't a great life.
No.
Well, first half anyway. First half wasn't the best. Second half, he nailed it.
Well, the subheadings for his biography are early life, immigration to Ireland and abandonment, Catholic education and more abandonment. So, like, bloody
Yeah,
hell.
that's the first half. That's the first half. Less abandonment in the second half of his life. But yeah, it's 4 separate stories titled The Black Hair, The Women of the Snow, Hoichi the Earless, and In a Cup of Tea. And just gonna run through each one and we'll talk about them as we go.
I think that's best.
So the first one is The Black Hair. The Black Hair is about a swordsman who leaves his wife because they're in poverty, and he's like, I am done with this shit. I've got a new post miles away, and I'm not taking you with me.
Initially, he's like, bye. And then he's like...
Yeah, he really is just like, I am out. I hate being poor and you. So he disappears, goes to be I don't know what the term is. Like are they called retainers?
Yeah, that sounds like something. Yeah.
But basically a swordsman for a lord in a distant land, still in Japan. He marries a wealthy man's daughter, and everything seems great until he fucking hates his life. Absolutely, like he spends a lot of time looking sad and thinking about his ex-wife.
Yes. Oh, we should...
a lot of time.
We should probably say, we're just going to spoil these, right?
Yeah.
It's been 60 years, and it's
It's
hard
been
to
60
talk
years.
about 4 segments without spoiling them. Like, come on.
I mean, it's been 60 years for the movie. It's been 100 years for the story, and it's been several hundred years for the ghost tales. So we're not treading new ground here.
Yeah. Okay.
This is not like... Yeah.
But yeah, he's full of regret. He didn't appreciate his first wife. She slaved away.
And there's a narrator over the over certain parts of the whole movie, but talking about this one, and it talks about his wife being cold and mean, and I'm like,
his new rich
no
wife.
No wonder she's acting like that. She knows that her husband only married her for money and fucking hates her.
It is very sympathetic to the man in this tale, to be fair. It is like, well, you know, he was escaping the poverty. He just had to leave his wife behind to do so.
Yeah, The poverty, in brackets, his wife.
Oh yeah, speaking of his new wife,
craziest eyebrows I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So
I know that it is a era appropriate style.
Hiki Mayu.
Ooh.
And the blackened teeth are called Ohaguro.
So they are actually blackened?
Yeah.
Because I honestly was going through this movie being like, why the fuck do all the women have terrible teeth?
No, yeah, so...
or no teeth?
For hundreds of years, I think, not just in Japan, the blackened teeth became a thing. I think it was both a fashion thing, but also it actually protected the teeth for later life.
So charcoal used to be used as a toothpaste,
yeah.
essentially.
I
So
don't know if
could
it
be
is
something
charcoal,
along-
but it's something. Yeah,
I don't know
probably
either,
something.
but...
It's a protective coating of some kind.
Yeah.
But it's just so... It's such a cultural difference to us because our culture just associates black teeth with rot and disease, I would say. And it's like... It's very
So thanks for
strange.
making that point about me in the start of the... with my blackened teeth. Yeah, it is really weird, and I know that Japan, especially American culture, are all about straight, white, perfect teeth.
Yeah.
Which is apparently very bad for you.
I mean, you can...
Going off on a complete tangent here. But yeah, apparently, like, see, putting your teeth perfect like that and, like, getting that worked out, it can actually be really bad for your teeth.
Oh, like straightened teeth.
But the way that Americans do it, where it's like super, like everything has to be perfectly in line.
They don't get any of the nice characteristic crookedness that our teeth have. No.
Yeah, just Tom Cruise and his one middle tooth. But in Japan, it is more common that what we would see as slightly less desirable teeth are actually seen as a good thing, or seen as
right.
That's just my
our
white man
cultural perspective of teeth has definitely been very different for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
Because the opposite, it's basically they went the totally opposite way to how our culture went with it. And the eyebrow smudges thing, it's partly to do with applying the white makeup, and then I read it was something like because of hairstyles that were fashionable at the time that were quite low, to balance out their faces, the eyebrows started migrating up and up when they painted them on with their makeup. It is just very strange, but you kind of get used to it because it's not the first or even second movie I've seen with it. So I was like,
but I think the thing I find weirdest about it is they don't look like eyebrows.
Yeah.
They don't look like any eyebrows you've ever seen in your life.
But then, like, was it Tudor times? I'm trying to think of when Blackadder the Second was set, and it's like everyone's got the powdered wigs and they've got the white face paint as well.
Yeah,
but they've got like the actual painted red circles on their cheeks, and that's not blusher. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
to us.
Just
so I was kind of like, there's a lot of weird shit going on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I am not saying that this is
it's
like...
just we're way more used to the Tudor thing because we've seen it a fucking bunch. But yeah,
and we still think that's weird.
The blackened teeth, I still find it strange to look at. I really do.
Because that is very interesting because it appears at certain times throughout this movie. And I honestly thought it was a movie thing or a ghost thing or a culture thing that's more... aside from just, hey, they used to blacken their teeth.
Yeah. No, she's just posh. She's just richer than his first wife.
She's on a gap year. So, basically the wife is not happy.
New wife.
Like, at all.
Wife 2.
New wife, yeah. Wife 2. Eyebrow wife.
She approaches him when he's, like, sleeping. And then
he's not, though. He's definitely not, though. Well, he's reading, and then she's like...
I thought he was lying down.
So he is. So the thing is...
He wasn't looking at her.
No, but she goes into his room at one point. That she asks one of the handmaidens, like, oh, like, where is he? We should be going to bed, our bedchambers. And the handmaiden's like, he's in his room reading. And she goes in, and he's just lying on the floor with a fan over his face.
Aye.
And, like, she goes up and she, like, takes the fan away and she goes for, like, quite a tender moment. And he's like, nah, fuck off. And, like, she's meant to be the bad person in this. I have no sympathy for the swordsman.
Well, yeah.
Eventually, after his contract's up, he decides to go back to Kyoto, sorry. So he returns to his old home, his old poverty-stricken, weed-riddled home.
Not the good kind of weed either.
Not the good, overgrown.
Yeah, it looks nasty and
dilapidated.
Moldy. Yes.
And finds his wife back there, still weaving.
Hasn't aged a day.
Hasn't aged a day, and she's so glad that
so forgiving.
They have a moment together.
Yeah.
So he's very prostrate.
She's sorry for all the poverty.
Yeah, she's sorry for not being better, apparently. And yeah, so they spend the night talking, and they fall asleep in each other's arms, and he awakens and sees that the dilapidated house is completely ruinous when he wakes up. Because there's quite, it is a difference, but it's not a place I would have lived in the times.
Yeah.
But it's even worse when he wakes up. The floorboards are all falling in, the walls are crumbling, there's, vines and weeds everywhere. And he turns to his wonderful wife and finds a skeleton with gorgeous hair, with absolutely gorgeous hair. And it's it's really weird. So that and I'm kind of getting into like production and blah 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 of this, but through that scene where he's looking at his wife and she's dead, like her hair changes from like black to grey to back to black,
her corpse
and then she goes from
changes
like
as well. She's a bit more goopy and fleshy at first, and then she's like literally a bleached bone skeleton. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was anything or just a weird production thing.
Yeah.
But he wakes up, finds himself rapidly aging,
Yeah.
and then is trying to escape the house, falling through floorboards, climbs through walls, and then eventually manages to make it outside, only for his ex-wife's hair
The black
to
hair?
strangle him to death.
Yeah.
Donald,
Yes.
what do you think of the black hair?
It was all right. I quite like. I did genuinely feel uneasy when he was macking on her when he came back, because I was like, oh, she's gonna be gross, isn't she? I mean, it's predictable what's gonna happen, but fuck me, it's a very old tale. And then you can't really get away from the floating hair being a bit goofy. You can't.
Yeah, and
really.
especially with 60s quote unquote special effects.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like the giant rat fight from The Princess Bride.
Oh right, yeah.
It's really like someone off screen chucks this hair at him, and he goes blah blah, and like shuggles it around and wraps it around his like.
You can't really get away with that. But I didn't think it was bad or anything. It just shows its age a bit. But it did genuinely make me go, ugh. Like I was, as soon as he came home and saw her, I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
he's in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it relatively predictable, and I'm not saying that as a detriment.
Yeah.
Like it just is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's also super telegraphed when she's like, "We have a moment together. I've not aged a day."
You always get interested if like this story's become tropey because other countless films have stolen from other films before it, or if are we just smarter as an audience these days, Alistair? Are we just harder to shock?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I would genuinely say that. I'll get to that later.
Oh.
But yeah, a couple things I liked. I really liked the deliberate pace that it starts out with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing is rushed in this entire movie. But it really, this opening story really sets that pace.
Yeah.
And it doesn't drag. It is just everything takes its time and lets it play out.
It gives you enough time to feel like he is genuinely missing his first wife and stuff.
Exactly.
And they give enough time to everything. I'd agree.
I would say that the narrator, especially in this one, talks a bit too much, over-explains too many things. Like, there's a few moments where I was like, nah, you didn't need that. Like, I could just let this scene play out and I'll context
but I quite like the
me.
narrator because the whole...
No, I do like the narrator.
Yeah, yeah.
I felt it in this one
specifically,
section,
right.
it was overused at
Yeah.
certain moments.
Because it feels like someone's telling ghost stories. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah, no,
okay,
to
fair
100%. I really like the narrator thread through it. That's
Yeah.
not. It is just in this one. There were certain moments where I was like, no, come on, like, just let the scene go. Oh, the last thing I would say, 1964 wasn't hugely used. Dutch angles are very well used in this segment because it's when he is aging and losing it, and it's him stumbling through the house, and it really adds to like the
that
kinda
whole
off-putting feeling to the whole thing.
That whole bit was quite good actually.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the makeup does. I think the makeup does quite a nice job because initially it's a bit more subtle, and then he is literally like going grey in front of your eyes and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
He's doing it like he is smashing through every bit of that house trying to get out. But no, it's quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that I didn't notice it, I don't think, in the other ones, but in this one, the sound design really lets it down.
Oh, really?
There's so many moments where it's like, It just sounds ADR. Like
sound is quite weird in this film, though. In general,
it is. I mean,
Like-
but there were moments where like wood would fall, and then like a good 3-4 seconds later, you would hear the wood fall.
I don't think. See, I think that it's. I don't think it's supposed to match up to what he's doing. I think it's supposed to be like just a chaotic soundtrack to how he's feeling. Because I feel like I'm sure sounds weird. Sounds weird in other segments as well. Like it doesn't necessarily reflect what's going on screen. And then I'll find out my TV's broken. But it's like,
No, that might be the case, but the sounds match up too closely with what he's doing, but not at the right, like just not at the right times. Where I was like, that happened a couple seconds ago. Why am I hearing it now?
Yeah.
Like that kind of feeling.
I never got that. I was just like, I just took it to be an element of his maelstrom.
Anything else on the black hair from you?
No, I think we covered it all succinctly enough. We've got 3 more of these fuckers to get.
I'm
through.
aware. I'm aware.
And I would say it's pretty good. I'm quickly trying to rate them all in my head. And
Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not.
no, I
rating
don't
them
mean
individually.
numerically, but which is my favorite, which is my least favorite. It's probably
Oh, okay.
It's probably second favorite. Oh, it might be third favorite. It's mid-table.
It might actually be my least favorite, but I actually still
wow.
think it is a good opener.
Oh, right.
I think it does well to set the tone of the whole movie.
In fact, now you say that, I think it might be my least favorite as well. I'll try and figure this out before I say anything for the second one.
The second one being The Woman of the Snow.
Bang.
2 woodcutters are out in a blizzard, cutting wood. Not very successfully because it's a blizzard. They try and get home, but the river they crossed, the boatman's on the other side, so they have to take refuge in the boatman's hut for the night. And during the night, our main man,
Of whose
Minokichi,
name?
Minokichi. No, I couldn't remember what one of the 2 he was.
Yeah, fair enough.
Minokichi wakes up to see a ghostly woman standing over his. So he's the apprentice. Don't you long for the days where you could be a woodcutter's apprentice?
Yeah, and be 18 but look 35. Although that plays into it later, to be fair.
Yes.
Yes. But I was like, who the fuck's this old man they're saying is 18? That's mental. He does not like he. No. Anyway, yes. Yeah, simple life, being a woodcutter's apprentice in a blizzard and nearly dying.
I mean, but didn't.
50%.
Yeah. Being the apprentice did not die. He wakes up to find a ghostly woman standing over his master. Is that what you would call?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And she breathes out on him and essentially freezes him, killing him. She turns to him and goes, "You're kind of cute. I'm not going to murder you."
Yeah, very much.
But if you tell anyone about this, I'll murder you.
I'll know and I will murder you.
I will know and I will murder you. And yeah, he survives the night. The boatman comes. I felt so sorry for the boatman because there's a moment where he's trying to get in the hut and it's been blocked by a big log because it kept blowing open in the blizzard.
Yeah.
So he has to walk round to where the boat docks.
Yeah.
Like there's a wee hole in the hut. And he has to walk through the water in his boots. And I'm like, oh, that's just not nice. So anyway, he comes in to find a corpse in his house. So yeah, he returns home. I'm assuming he just tells people that he froze his pal froze to death.
He was old.
Yeah, he was old and it was cold.
Yep.
But he goes home, has a little mental breakdown eventually. His mum is strong, by the way. She picks up so much wood to go sell.
I mean, she is like walking out of the house with like her bent over. Like it was bad. It was hard times, Alistair.
But she's so strong.
I mean, the weak did not prosper.
No, they didn't. unless they were rich.
Uh,
Yeah. But yeah, so he has a little mental breakdown, spends time recuperating, and eventually goes back to being. Now he gets a promotion to the woodcutter
by default.
But yeah, and one day while out cutting wood, he's in a field and he comes across a beautiful woman.
A maiden fair.
And she's on her way to somewhere. And,
Through the dangerous woods.
He's like, I'll walk with you.
Yeah.
And then they're both just like, "Are you married?
Yeah.
Are you married? Cool." Another aspect of simpler times. You could just meet a random woman in a field and then, well, that's you.
Come to my house.
Yeah. So they walk past his house and he's like, "Come in for a bite to eat and a snooze. It's just me and my mum." And she never leaves.
Yeah.
They get married and have 3 children together. The mother dies. The now grandmother, his mother dies. They go and visit, and then all the again. This right.
Well, I guess what you're going to say.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So when they're coming back from saying nice things to their granny on the anniversary of her death, I believe, the villager women are just, they're hitting material with
So yeah,
woods.
they are literally. One of them is literally just like hitting cloth.
Yeah. And then they comment on how unbelievably beautiful she still is, having had 3 children, and it is
And youthful,
miraculous,
so very, very
you know.
youthful.
I mean, any normal woman would be a broken down old sow by now, but no, oh my god, you haven't aged a day, basically.
By the way, the oldest kid is like 6, 7.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the kids are 25 and she should be like decrepit at this point.
It is, yes.
But
it's
yeah,
mad.
they're
And if they were similar ages, she's 25 maybe.
yeah. Oh, how does she look so young?
Anyway,
Well,
yes. Foreshadowing, as people
Cut
might
to
say.
New Year's Eve, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And the father's making sandals for his family. He makes a nice, lovely pair for his wife.
The finest
with little red
sandals he's
straps.
ever made.
And she's like, "Why do you always make red things for me?" And he's like, "'Cause you're so fucking youthful." So, and then she's like, "Oh, did you make ones for the kids?" And he pulls out 3 tiny pairs of sandals. And I was like, "Oh, that's cute."
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's I can't remember what she's doing, but she's also
Battering
doing
material with a bit of
labouring,
wood or something. Yeah, I know.
by candlelight. And as he looks at her through the candlelight, he's like,
Ah.
"You like that fucking bitch that killed my master." He doesn't say it like that. He's like, "Oh, I remember that night."
Yeah.
And then he tells his wife the story.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, he explains what happened to him that night.
The only time since that night he's seen anyone as beautiful was right now looking at her, basically.
Yep. And she basically goes, "Well, it was me." And reveals herself to be the I believe it's called a Yuki Onna.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't actually see anything
or a
about that.
snow granny or a snow hag. I did.
Oh, wow. So they're kind of like vampires, are they?
Yeah.
They steal life essence more than anything else? Right.
With cold.
Yeah.
And she's raging, and I'm kind of like,
Entrapment. That's what I thought
Yeah,
as well.
very
I was
much
like,
entrapment.
The only person he's told is the person that knew.
that's yeah.
In a
that
court
should
of
be
law,
fair.
they could argue that she entrapped him by making him fall in love with her so that he would trust her above any other soul, and technically in some cultures they would be viewed as one soul under the sanctity of a marriage under God, Alistair. I think he could get off with this charge.
Yeah, so yeah, she's raging.
He
She
doesn't
is
argue very
absolutely-
well at the time. He's kind of scared.
No.
'Cause
Well, yeah, wouldn't you
She
be?
immediately turns into black teeth,
Yeah.
teeth, no eyebrows,
And the weird arms out
yeah,
of the side.
she has a weird pose, yeah, and she's got a
I'm
dress.
assuming that is just a thing, like
Yeah,
the
it's
same
just
way
what-
that
there
in
must be one-
China, the Chinese hopping vampire
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing
yeah,
with the arms
yeah.
out. Like,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's like, you broke your promise, but I'm not going to murder you because we've got kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
I am going to leave you, though,
Yeah.
and our kids. And if you don't treat them right, I believe the line is, if they have any cause to complain about you, I'm going to come back and murder you.
3 teenagers, that's going to be...
Yeah, those 3 teenagers are going to be orphans so quick. So she fucks off. She
Yeah, she fucks
literally
off.
just disappears in the middle. Doesn't say goodbye to her kids.
No.
Her kids.
Well, she turned out to be a snow hag, so, you know... I don't know what
So-
they're flighty, I guess. I don't know.
Apparently.
I'll marry a guy
but
for 6
He's
years.
absolutely heartbroken.
Yeah,
puts
as you
her
would be.
sandals outside. She steals them and fucks off.
Yeah, yeah,
End segment.
yeah, yeah.
That is actually what happens. I'm clearly giving these folk tales the reverence they deserve.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, thoughts on The Women of the Snow?
At this point, I was trying to... After the first one, I was like, are these going to be morality stories? Because the first one is like the value of love and marriage. The second one, I was like, is it going to be about breaking a promise? But then I was like... it's more like don't break a promise, it's foisted on you by a monster. It's kind of unfair to him. So I did drop that theory pretty quick.
Yeah, it's like keep your promises with like 4 asterisks after it.
Half the time I was like, see this snow that's flowing everywhere? I hope that wasn't asbestos or something.
I had the exact same thought.
Because there's a lot of it.
The snow isn't any sort of like liquid. Like
Yeah.
it's not. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's
But
flakes
it ain't
of something.
snow.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I also
sure
had
some
the
of it's-
thought of.
I think some of it's white sand. I was looking at
Okay.
it real close when they were standing on. I was like, that looks like sand, I think. But then the stuff that's flying around their hair and stuff obviously isn't. And I was like,
I
oh.
don't think. I just didn't know what. I honestly was like, this better not be asbestos. Yeah. It's yeah.
thought
I
it
mean,
was-
from the first 2, the theme appears to be don't fucking trust your wife.
No, first one's don't trust your husband.
No,
Yeah.
went away, trusted her. She was cold and mean to him. Came back, prostrated himself,
Well.
murdered him.
Well, I'm not sure. I agree with
I'm not
this.
saying that's the theme I want it to be. I'm saying that's the theme that came across in this bloody movie.
I actually didn't recognize the actress. If they hadn't done the bit where all the I called them hags, the crones are like, my God, you're so unbelievably gorgeous given the 3 children. I don't think I would have pegged I pegged immediately then, but they did a good job of making her sufficiently different looking, and like when he initially meets her, they're not like focused that much on her face and stuff. I didn't see where it was going immediately.
And it's all like it's all angled.
Yeah,
like,
I just thought he
top or
would tell
bottom.
her because obviously he's
Yeah.
going to tell someone. That must happen. But I never thought,
So this is also the reason why I didn't think it was a cultural thing, because the only person in this story that has blackened teeth is not his wife, not when she's his wife, but when she is the ghost.
yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. But I like this one. I thought
Me too.
it did a good job of. We've not mentioned something, and this is the one. Is this the one or is it the next one that starts playing with it a lot? And the first one, the backdrops look.
Yep.
There's one backdrop that looks a bit
I was
weird.
literally
It's a
about to start talking about
so a lot of it's painted backdrops. It's all filmed in a studio.
90% of the movie, 95% of
Yeah.
the movie is all the backdrops are painted.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it gives it a kind of like it gives it a feel like a stage production.
Yeah, like
to
a
certain
theater.
extent.
That's what I thought too.
As well as the set dressing a lot
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah.
But not to the detriment of the film. Like, it takes a bit of getting used to. You're like, whoa, that's definitely not real.
They definitely, I feel like it eases you in a bit, because the first one, there's basically a building painted in the distance of the samurai's first house. And whenever it's on screen, I'm like, wow, that's so bad as to be definitely deliberate, because it's not trying to look like that house. But I'm sure in the second one, is it the second one where it's eyeballs watching
so it's
in the backdrop a lot, and it's like, right, that's just eyeballs in the sky all over the place all the time, and no one's looking at it. So it's, and then the rest of them, they never try to be realistic in any way. Basically, it's just stuff. It's just either kind of mirroring what the rest of the story looks like at that moment, or I mean, obviously that's because she's watching over and blah, 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 but it's stuff like that. It's thematic rather than being even trying to look like the painted backdrops you would see in Western films.
No, it really gives it a very, very distinct look, and the backdrops are gorgeous. Yeah, like they are so well done, and just it really there's such vibrant colors that really just allow the set dressing and the kind of that kind of theater feel to really shine. This was the one that really started. I was like, well, okay, this is definitely like a thing rather than
exactly,
rather than just cheap production. No, but genuinely, you don't know, because I don't mean it bad, like. I mean, we saw the most expensive Italian movie ever made, and in terms of budget, it pales in comparison to anything else. And like, if you go back 60 years, I mean, this movie's 60 years old this year. Yeah. Like, did Japan cinema have that budget to like have these huge productions the same way that
and stuff?
Yeah, like, so
I'll tell
wasn't
you two
sure
people
if it
that
was
don't know
just...
for sure. You and me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, but I thought about this a lot throughout the movie. It's like, you know, you like, look at Ben-Hur. Look at Ben, like, a movie that I cannot be arsed with. I do not like it. But it's so grand in scale. Yeah. Like, it must have cost a fortune. Yeah. Like, I don't think other countries had that production budget at that time. Yeah. The same way that, like, movies don't have the same production budget as America does now. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if it was just a limitation of their funding or of what they were able to do. But this second one, I was like, it is deliberate. It is so deliberate. It is like screaming in your face. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I really enjoyed this one. Yeah. I think it might be my favorite. I think it's my favorite.
It's up there.
There's only 4.
I know,
and you've ranked one of them 4th.
No, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to commit. I'll commit at the end. After we talk about all 4, that will be when my feelings for them all have matured enough, and then I will give a brief ranking. All right? Sorry.
One thing I did note about this, and it's the only time in the whole movie it happens, I was very shocked that there was nudity in a 1964 Japanese movie.
Yeah, PG as well, yeah. He's sucking on
it's
them
PG
titties.
now. It's PG now.
Yeah. It does kind of come out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, so it's when him and his wife are frolicking in the fields.
He's sucking on them titties, I said. What? It is. Okay. What do you want? People haven't changed that much.
But yeah, I was surprised. I didn't think that would be a thing.
I'm sure I had a nice surprise when I was watching. Is it both Zucker brothers or one Zucker? The original Airplane, which is a PG, which features full titties out as a joke because it's during turbulence. Literally, like, everything's going crazy, and then a topless woman jumps in the frame so that her tits can jiggle, then jumps out of frame again, basically. And that was a PG.
And that movie is regarded as a classic.
I'm glad I could mention it here.
Moving on. We come to our third...
Do we have to? I'm reminiscing.
I don't know. Just give you a wee minute. We move on to our third of 4. which is Hoichi the Earless.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hoichi the Earless is about a blind musician who plays the biwa, which is a Japanese sitar, guitar, whatever, that family of instruments.
You're going to hate me. I forgot to mention one thing.
Yeah, on you go.
Just
this isn't getting edited. You're just gonna look like a fool.
Just that randomly, not when I was looking at this film, I came across The Snow Woman, a 1968 Japanese fantasy horror film, and I was like, that's weird. And it is an expanded adaptation of the short story as it appeared in the Kwaidan book. And I was like, that's odd. Must have hit pretty hard for 4 years later them to do just a film about that segment.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting. It's not the same guy or anything.
No.
Would you watch that one?
I mean, 2 Pinocchio movies came out last year.
How many of those have you seen?
1.
Good.
The good one.
That's the Tom Hanks one, right?
Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
It's the one that won the Oscar. Thank you.
Tom Hanks has won an Oscar.
Yep. Yes, Donald. He has.
1? 2?
Philadelphia and Forrest Gump.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Cool. It's definitely relevant to this. Hoichi the Earless tells the tale of a young blind musician who plays the biwa.
Explain what the biwa is, just in case people don't know.
I did.
What? You didn't
I'm not editing that.
No, you don't see what it is. It's like the guitar.
I said it's a guitar, sitar. It's in that family. It's the Japanese one.
Oh, is that before the diversion about Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's before the Hanks incident.
Yeah. Sorry. I was wondering if because of the biwa people play the guitar with a plectrum.
Yeah, it's played with what looks like an ice scraper.
Yeah, exactly.
Just modern equivalent. It looks like an ice scraper.
Yeah.
So yeah, his specialty is singing the tale of Heike.
What a voice he has. Beautiful.
What an instrument the biwa is. And it's specifically the Battle of Dan no Ura. Which is basically real historical battle between two warring clans.
It happened just over here, remember?
What?
We're at the park. Oh, never mind. Just over there. Because
we've not done the tour.
Oh, for God's sake.
We're doing the tour tonight.
Cover of Darkness. I don't know about that.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot you were extremely afraid of snowbanks.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so and this section opens with the entire recital of the Battle of Dan no Ura.
By someone else.
Is it by someone else?
I thought it was a female voice.
No, I thought it was him.
Do you think it's his voice both times?
Yeah.
I thought
it wouldn't make sense otherwise.
No, because I might have just assumed it was a woman because you don't see him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and then so in my head they're two distinct people. I'll cede the point.
So he is an attendant in a temple, and one night he's playing just out in the front, and a ghost samurai approaches him and says,
Ghost samurai? He appears suddenly?
No, ghost samurai. Ghost samurai. Not gonna. There was zero doubt in my mind that this was a ghost samurai.
Oh, okay, you're quite sharp.
Yeah.
Sharper than Huichi anyway, because
he can't see.
True.
That was a big factor.
Yeah,
the fact that he was painted white. The samurai says, "My lord has heard you are the best at singing this song. You're gonna come with it. I'll get to it in a minute. I'm not gonna deviate. You're gonna come with me. You dare not say no because lords." Yeah. And he just leads him by the hand. It's quite funny. It's just this samurai leading this blind guy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually was like, oh, that's fair enough.
But yeah, so he plays for the samurai's lord and court, and he all of the other priests, monks, or all the priests and monks. I don't believe he is a priest or monk.
No,
Mainly
I don't think
because when he comes back the next day, the idiot priest, that's the only way I can describe him.
Father
he
Dougal
constantly
Maguire.
he constantly has his mouth open, like in a slack-jawed kind of yokel.
Gormless.
Yeah, yes, gormless is a good word for it. So he's like, yeah, you were sneaking out last night, going to see some girls,
Sucking
and
on
he's
them
like,
titties.
and, stop it, please, I'm begging you.
Well,
I was genuinely like, they don't seem local to anything.
yeah.
What woman is he going? What woman is the blind guy going out at night to go and see?
Oh dear. Yeah.
But regardless, they want to know where he's going at night, and he doesn't tell them.
Yeah.
Because apparently the samurai says not to.
yeah.
Um,
He can keep a
and-
promise.
Yeah. Night after night, he goes and he plays more and more of this tale to the Lord. But he also is slowly becoming more and more ill. So eventually the head priest says, Gormless one, go get your friends and chase him and find out where the fuck he's going.
In the middle of a massive storm.
Yeah, it looks awful. It looks great to be like, see the fact that that is a studio?
Yeah.
Like, that looks fantastic.
Yeah. The
I
amount
would
of
not want. It's
water.
also, I found it like they've got these little lanterns.
Yeah.
That are just the only way it's protecting it is a paper.
I'm sure-
like cover around the side, and I was like,
I saw one of them go out almost immediately. and
yeah,
then
it
cut.
would.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, 100%.
But they follow him, and they find that he is not going to a grand court, but he is going to a graveyard of the dead of the Battle of
Yeah. That one
Danora.
clan, the losing clan.
The losing clan.
I can't remember
Yeah.
what they're called now. The Heiki clan or something like that?
The well, it's the tale of the Heiki, but it's between the Taira and the Minamoto.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know which one's which.
One of them.
Um,
They color coordinate the film. The red ones.
yeah, the red ones. So he's actually been doing this performance for the dead of this battle that he's singing about, and the other priests just grab him. They just fucking grab him and drag him home. But after a nice talking to from the head priest, who's basically says, "You keep doing this, they will kill you." So they write the text of the Heart of Sutra, I believe it's called, which seems to be a magic spell that makes you invisible to ghosts.
Yeah,
like,
pretty
I'm not,
much, yeah.
Yeah, like,
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's the famous image from the cover of the film, and the image that I'd seen 100 times before I watched this film. The bald, I assumed monk covered in writing.
So they just tell him to. They don't tell him to go to bed. They tell him to meditate at the front door.
Yep. I suppose they could have just got to sleep. Yeah.
Yes.
Somewhere else as well. They could
Yeah.
just ran away.
Yeah. There's apparently a village full of women
'Cause-
close by.
yeah.
Send them there.
Because all they're doing is hiding him. So why does he need to be there?
Yeah. Throw a blanket over them.
Good point.
But unfortunately, things go awry when the samurai appears and goes, "I see his guitar, but I don't see him. But I do see a good-looking pair of ears." And he's like, "Well, can't leave empty-handed," and rips the ears off Hoichi, giving us our title.
But he doesn't know it's his ears.
No, he
they're
just thinks they're floating
and
ears
he's
that are
like,
struggling against him.
I must take these ears back. And
Yeah.
obviously the guy that was in charge of writing, not the main guy, not the best priest, fucked up.
Yeah.
Forgot the ears.
Also, when he was crawling along the floor, they
Thighs.
also missed the back of his knees.
Yeah. Don't think that was on purpose, though. Yeah.
You forgot the ears, but you got everything else? That's very, like... Oh.
You don't want him to have to rip off a floating penis, please.
Don't I? So, yeah, he rips his ears off. And, yeah, the Hoichi is...
But then...
Thankfully, the outer ears are not necessary for him.
Yeah, he makes a
So he's not
recovery
deaf.
and
Yeah,
becomes a famous musician.
Yeah, because he is so good at this song that real lords, they are very suspicious of these lords at first. Real lords with real samurai want to come and hear him perform this, and he becomes a very rich man.
Yeah, there you go. Finn.
Finn, yeah.
Ended quite nice, that one.
Yeah, weirdly. Except for the ripping of the ears. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he had to go through a bit of pain, but then he's famous and rich, so...
yeah, has to wear a hat all the time.
Yeah. Well, boo-hoo.
So in terms of how I felt, that opening battle goes on.
Yeah, it does.
A long
I
time.
don't even know if we mentioned that the song is set to a battle, which does look cool. It's like... Because it's boats in the water. It's a naval battle, but it's swords and bows and stuff. But
Yeah, I was looking at this naval battle,
Yeah.
and I was like, just fight on land, guys.
I know,
What are
it
you
is-
doing?
it
Like,
is
these
weird.
boats are planks of wood with extra planks of wood upright so that they can block arrows. And there's like 4 guys on them. There's just one actual boat that has all the rich people on it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you fight on water if this was your options?
But-
And I'm sure this is accurate to the time. Fucking hell, what are you doing?
But theatrically, it looks quite interesting because it's the backdrop's right there. And they're clearly-
You can literally see the water pressing against the, like...
yeah, which is very uncanny. It's like the Truman Show when he meets the edge of the. But it looks quite dangerous as well. These boats are really floating about and stuff. I'm like, fuck, someone's gonna fucking drown or get crushed here.
So, I did notice at one point, when so there's one point where one of the lead samurai for one of the families is like jumping from boat to boat and murdering basically, and at one point he stabs a guy and the guy puts his foot in the water and it's about ankle deep and it's like right at the bottom corner, but I was just, because that's where the guy fell, I just happened to spot it and I was like, fair enough.
But I thought it, like, visually it does look quite good. But
It looks great.
I feel like the segment as a whole dragged. I couldn't identify exactly when I was like, pfft. But it is definitely longer because I watched this in 2 chunks. I watched the first 2 stories. And I was like, right, there's halfway through. Wow, they've really... I think slightly less than halfway. No, slightly more than halfway left. I was like, oh, okay. But the last segment's only about 20, 25 minutes. So this segment's... I didn't time it.
This is the longest one.
Definitely longer.
Easily.
But yeah, I think you feel it's longer as well.
I think part of it is because, like, the opening battle takes a long time. It's not bad, but it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And then the story begins.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bit that... Also, I obviously talk about it later on, but this movie is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Like, so, that definitely plays into it.
You also hear a lot of the song, and I can't really confess I'm a fan of the song.
I never want to fucking hear the biwa again in my life.
So I think that
honestly wanted to strangle him.
I think that does not help matters when you're like, oh, come on, next scene, and it's like,
This must honestly be how other countries feel about the fucking bagpipes.
yeah,
Like,
probably.
they're sitting looking at going, why are people listening to this?
Yeah.
Like, it is so... Apart from the fact his voice is very grating when he sings.
Yeah.
The notes on this are also just so grating. And I'm not meaning it like fucking stupid music. It's just like, especially for when you're trying to pay attention and work your way through this. And as you said, it feels long.
Yeah.
It just grates and grates on me.
It's definitely the musical comparison equivalent to the teeth thing. It's like, we don't get this.
Yeah.
We don't understand this music like now.
But then again, like I have watched other Japanese movies and I have played Japanese games, and there are that instrument is used or something close enough.
Yeah.
And it's not as bad. It's not like, you hear
it's
those...
just the ancient version of the... It's just a guy telling a song. Telling a story via song by just kind of tunelessly singing every word and occasionally punctuating
They
it.
were fighting on the water.
Oh, not even bling.
It was a ferocious battle.
Pung.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... And I've heard it in other movies, other media, and it just didn't.
Yeah.
This time, it just really just did not sit with me.
Yeah. I'm sure I saw there's an edited down version of this film, but I think the one they edit down is the Snow Woman. Weirdly, which
it's removed completely.
That's weird.
Yeah. So they just remove that and that's it.
This is the one that you might want to trim a little bit, boys.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I do feel that the opening.
It's got really good stuff.
Takes far too long.
Though
Great.
it's got really good stuff in it.
So I would actually say that this is probably my second favorite.
Yeah, it's probably. I'm not going to rank them yet.
Yeah, you're not ranking them until the end.
I really like the thought of it, like something about the concept of like the dead clan, and all they really want to do is kind of reflect on how they've been talked about in history.
Yeah,
it was cool. I really liked what it did, the story it told in general, and it's slightly. I'm trying to think of the right word. 'Cause it's not like bizarre or silly, but the ears floating there. It was actually quite a good effect for the time.
I thought that looked really good.
Yeah,
it's especially for like the other effects in the movie.
Yeah, after
very
the black
good.
hair. Yeah, it did.
It did.
Yeah. As a concept, I think it could be a bit comical to us, but I don't know. Yeah, it just seemed to really work. Just too fucking long.
Yeah. That is literally my only apart from the fucking singing.
Yeah.
The main crux of the whole thing. But it is like my only criticism about the segment is the length. It feels long. It takes a long time. It basically feels like two segments in one.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, you can definitely feel that. What's my moral for this one? If you do a job, do it right. Don't miss the ears.
That's your takeaway?
That was my moral, for the third
That's
one.
Your takeaway?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was.
Don't blindly trust people. No pun intended.
It was visually the battle was long, but it was visually quite striking. And him in the writing is a really cool image.
Oh yeah,
I can see why whenever people talk about it, they always use that image. It looks cool. Yeah. And the ghost samurai also looked cool in all his. Yeah. I think it was black and white, wasn't it? It was basically all in black and white.
Yeah. It's like a black white like armor.
Yeah. It was bitchin'. It was all pretty bitchin'.
Yeah. Return of the Weird Eyebrows on the young emperor. I believe.
I can't remember actually. There was a lot. It was a lot of weird. They're all basically set in the same period except for the last one. Yeah. I assume. Which
then we'll get to, but is also then set in a.
Yeah. It fucks about.
No, it was. So the one other thing I wanted to talk about was this is the segment with one of the only shots that isn't shot in a studio.
Yeah,
it's shot
at
on
the
like
shore.
the rock.
And
it looks great. It looks really great.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Sorry, carry on.
It doesn't remove you from that kind of like the going from that back to the backdrops is not like at all like jarring, or it just adds this more like grandiose feel to it for this certain section.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I have nothing to add.
No, I would definitely say that one's my second favorite. Again, just a bit too long, but in terms of content, in terms of like certain aspects, like the naval battle, the way that's filmed, and the production of it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it this segment which has a lot of pinks and oranges in the backdrop?
Yes, especially for the battle.
Yeah.
The battle is very like reds and
pinks.
pinks.
Yeah. It was very vivid. I can still see it in my mind's eye. Yeah, so it did look great. Are we on to the fourth one now?
We are. The fourth one is called In a Cup of Tea.
In a Cup of Tea.
I thought I was going to fucking love this. So In a Cup of Tea is about a author getting a visit from his publisher. And I will say, it starts with two women playing the weirdest game of badminton, and one of them is so shit at it. I don't know why it's stuck in my mind. I couldn't not notice it. It's these two women on the street playing. It's like, it looks like a shuttlecock, or a projectile that's got a certain float to it, and they're just using these big, huge paddles, and one of them's just dog shit at it.
It reminded me of that new thing. Is it called pickleball?
Is that well, yeah, new big, in terms of...
Yeah, in terms of it's a meme now or something.
It's not 200 years old.
Yeah, but it's like big wooden paddles as well. I was like, oh, there you go, pickleball.
But yeah, so he's getting a visit from his publisher, and basically it then goes into the tale that he's been writing.
Yeah.
Which tells of another samurai. Who so he's a samurai for a lord, but I don't think you ever see the lord. It's mainly about like the samurai and the retinue. So he goes for a cup of I thought it was water. It looks like water. But then again, I drink British ass builder's tea, so I'm not gonna be like But yeah, so he goes to get a drink, and in the cup he sees a cheeky
smiling
man.
Little cheeky man.
It really is a little cheeky smile he's got. And then he looks away, and then he looks back, and the guy's gone, and then the guy pops back into the bowl, and he's like, ooh, and then he just fucking chucks the bowl.
Yeah.
Because wouldn't you?
Yeah. I'd be pretty
He's like, no, he genuinely just goes, fuck this shit, and smashes it. At which point I was like, you can't buy them at shops. Someone made that. Like, they are limited.
Well, you can't buy them at shops, but they're not made
but
by
you know what I
a
mean.
machine.
Like, it's not. They are not mass produced. Like that's.
We're pre-industrial here, folks. Keep on your shit.
So he one night he's wandering about the palace complex. And the man and his the tea man appears.
Yeah, tea man.
And he's like,
"Hello,
you fucking drank me." That's basically what he says. He says, "You drank me, and I'm not happy about it." So the samurai just attacks him, and the guy keeps like blinking out.
Disappearing in that old timey. It's just a cut, but I feel bad for how many times they would have to film that to get because the positioning right.
It's never perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But they get that position in a lot of movies so close a lot of the time. Yeah. And I'm just like, that must have been a fucking nightmare. But yeah, so the man basically just disappears, walks through a wall, but for us he just fades out.
Yeah. And at this point, all the other guys,
the samurai runs around going, "There's an intruder! There's an intruder! Everyone get up!" And it takes them so long for a single other person to appear. Like, you'd think if one samurai was yelling, "There's an intruder," like, the place would be mobbed in seconds. Yeah. He runs down like 5 corridors before anyone goes, "What?"
And then they
what's
all call
happening?
him stupid and a liar,
Which
basically.
I was yeah. So he
Because he does say
what appears to be
walked through the
what
wall or
appears to
whatever.
his boss. He's like, I saw an intruder, and they're like, no one can get in or out, and I'm like, right, okay, you live in the time of ninjas. Apart from that,
No, but does he not say like he went
no.
through
But
the wall?
then he
Right,
says
right,
like,
right, right.
I don't know where he is. He vanished through a wall, and they all laugh at him.
Yeah.
Now this story, like, so the frame story of the author is, I think, in the late 1800s. This story is about 200 years before that.
Yeah.
Really? Really? They're gonna laugh at him? They're gonna laugh at him.
What, when
Like,
snow hags exist, you mean?
Yeah. Like, if I thought this would have been like, Christ, we've got a super samurai on our hands, and
Oh, I
we
thought you
need
meant
to.
we've got a samurai ghost in our hands because we've
Well,
had
yeah,
the
like something
invisible
like that.
spell, the snow
Yeah.
hag.
Like, I honestly thought that I was shocked that they would turn and laugh at him because I thought, I mean, granted, I have very limited knowledge on Japan 400 years ago, but I felt that everyone was a little bit more superstitious 400 years ago.
The other stuff we've seen so far might lead you to think, right, yeah, there's probably a bit more superstition going on.
But no, every single other soldier laughs
Maybe
at him.
he's got form. Maybe he's the drunken idiot one.
Yeah, maybe. But he heads home that night after feeling like a fool. And then he's visited late at night by three men who his attendant says want a brief chat.
Brief chat.
That's I believe that's what the subtitles said. They just said they want a brief chat with you, sir. Okay. It's 3 a.m., but whatever. So he goes out, and they are ghosts. They are more ghost samurai. Not the same guy.
No.
3 different ghost
They're
samurai.
color they're like, was it
They're the purple
one?
girls.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Or the starter Pokemon.
Yeah. So he starts fighting them, obviously.
Yeah.
Tries to stab the shit out of them. But yeah, they're still ghosts.
They're still ghosts.
At one point, he's fighting just shadows, and they're not there at all, which is quite cool. And then he stabs them, and then they come back because they're ghosts. Can't kill ghosts.
Yep. But then eventually, like, wards them off.
He does.
Goes mental with
well,
a crazy laugh.
at
I've said this
point?
before.
At what point does it go? You know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Carry on.
No, just say it.
No, at what point does it go? And he never finished the story.
Oh, right, yeah. So, yeah, because I thought you were going to say is, like, at what point do you think that... Is it all in his head?
Oh, right. No, I never thought that.
Apparently not at all for Donald.
No, never thought that
Because
ghosts
by the
exist.
end... Yeah, I'm aware. Apparently not fucking in this one story. Because by the end of the fight with the 3 ghosts, he is, like, broken. He's snapped, essentially.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's laughing and stuff. Yeah.
And there's and I've said this before to you about a specific Japanese wrestler. The Japanese do crazy face like no one else. They really do. It's a talent.
Yeah.
Like the way they can contort their face, especially the eyes.
Yeah.
Of just like they can just make them look so harrowed and like snapped.
Yeah.
And that's where
it's a good it's very good crazy
our
face.
protagonist.
Yeah.
Where he is just like collapsed on the ground, the ghosts have vanished, and he is just like laughing to himself.
Yeah.
At which point we cut back to the frame story.
Yep.
Where the publisher arrives and the author is gone. And the author has left a note saying, I didn't feel I could do a satisfying ending to this. So I just wanted to leave it up to the reader's imagination.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. At which point, the author's attendant who led the publisher in starts screaming like a banshee. like sprints out the place, and then the publisher goes over to the big jug of water tea.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah,
huge,
it's huge,
like
yeah,
it's about 3.5 feet tall.
It's a small bath.
Yeah. At which point he looks in it and also screams and sprints out.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to looking inside the jug, and the author's in there.
But he's all under the water.
Yeah,
creepy
making
like.
weird. He's making weird hand movements.
Yeah, it's like he's trapped in the tea.
Yeah.
Something you'd love, probably. Sicko.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like Cleopatra and milk, but me and tea. That bathing and stuff. It's very good for you.
Bathing in tea. Anyway.
Anyway,
That was the fourth one.
That was the fourth. That's the end of the fourth one.
Yeah. Meta!
Yeah.
It's like, ah!
Yeah.
I quite
Weird.
liked it.
Yeah, it was my third. It was my third favorite.
It's the slightest, obviously, in terms of length and plot. Although, saying that...
No wonder it was left unfinished.
Yeah, true. A few of these I felt were quite slight on plot, to be fair.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. It's basically telling a simple story, usually. This one, yeah, as I said, definitely felt the slightest. But that ending, which was pretty cool, I thought. It was pretty well done. Him with the tea being all...
Yeah, again, the weird hand movements. Because he doesn't look panicked. He doesn't look like he's
he
in
looks like he's
stress.
haunting it somehow or something weird. It's weird.
He looks like he's looking at the audience going, you never thought I'd be in here, did you?
The original Tea Ghost's facial expressions are iconic. They're hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It really is like he thinks he's it. He's like,
Ichiban for men. Like it's that level of like good. Grinning, and it's the grinning and turning of the body, but keeping the head.
Yeah, it's very funny.
It's he hams it up wonderfully.
Yeah.
But apart from that, like this basically brings everything together. Like in terms of that production, that the way the story's played out through each one. I don't believe as many backdrops in this one. This one's kind of more similar to the first one.
It's
like,
definitely simpler.
Bigger, but I mean, they definitely use grander stages.
Yeah.
Like the same way that in the first, in the Black Hair, when the samurai, his wife, and their retinue are moving, like they stop at a town to, I don't know, chill. And she goes shopping. Like that is all done in a real place. It's all built sets outside, and it looks. I don't know if it is, but it looks more like that when you're seeing the exterior of his house. When you see the exterior of the palace complex, it doesn't look as studio-ish,
right,
as the rest of it. But no, I enjoyed it. It's. The last one, it was well done. Again, slight on plot. I wouldn't really call the ending satisfying.
Which ending? The overall ending?
Both, yeah.
Well, I quite like the fact that because it's based on horror stories, that the last one brings a writer into it in a way that felt very modern and subversive.
Definitely, yeah. It's very well done in that aspect.
Yeah,
like, having
the three ghost samurai in a costume thing. It's like, yeah, whatever. It looks okay and stuff. It's pretty fine, but
exactly. Yeah, for a 1964 Japanese movie, I didn't expect it to be that meta. Like,
I mean, we should probably watch more Twilight Zone episodes from the 50s, but still, I didn't expect it.
Oh, I have watched it. You have no idea how much Twilight Zone I've watched. I'm going to go. You've made me go on a massive tangent.
Oh,
now.
Lord. Oh, Christ.
So there's one Twilight Zone episode where it's these like spacemen, and I'm probably like misremembering certain aspects of the plot, but that's not the point of this. And basically, it's like the planet is like dying, and they need to find somewhere new. And eventually they find a new planet, and the planet's Earth, and it turns out, and they were from Mars.
Thank you for summarizing that.
And no, but then the thing that makes me laugh so hard is that they say they travel, I think it's like 7 million miles. The distance between the Earth and Mars is 140 million miles. They were not that far away. Like, obviously, it's the 50s. I can forgive it. But it just makes me laugh so hard. They were like 20 times less the amount that they needed to be.
Oh, you're such a cinema sins, honestly. TV sins.
I don't see that as a sin. I don't see that as an error. That's just funny because I live 70 years in the future.
In fact, I just saw that. Sorry, just tearing us back
Even
to what
more
we were talking. No, tearing us back to what we were talking about.
How dare
The Lafcadio's book was published in 1904, and that might be when the last segment's set. 1904.
I thought it was 1890.
Nah, I think you're wrong.
Yeah, it might be. I genuinely might be.
No, I might be wrong as well. But it definitely rings a bell.
Yeah. So now that we've gone through all four, Donald, rank them. You're not getting out of it this time. Don't say me rank them. I have ranked them as we went.
Oh, God. What's my favorite? I don't know, because I really liked it, A Cup of Tea, but it's also the slightest and shortest. I really liked Hoichi, the Earless, but it's the longest. And I don't like either
And
of
the
those.
most grating.
I guess the woman. I don't know. It's like tied first, and then the black hair is probably fourth. To be fair,
The one that at the start you were like, I think this might have been my favourite one.
No, I said it
maybe
was-
maybe second.
I said it was
maybe
mid.
third.
Maybe just
No,
They're all
no.
tied. They're all tied.
They're all tied for
First,
first.
yeah.
What a fucking
'Cause they've
terrible
all got-
sports day bullshit thing
they've
that
all
is.
got aspects I like and aspects I dislike. Every single one of them.
That's called life.
But then I rate them all the same number. Therefore, they're all tied.
Okay.
And the number I rate
so-
them is going to be the number I say this whole film is.
Yeah, well, if you said, they're all eights, I give the movie a 4. So overall, like before we get into numbers, what did you think of the whole thing?
I thought it was good. Having not talked about it much, I think it does show its age a bit in terms of for me. I know that you said that the black hair was really well paced, but I think Hoichi really ruined the impression of this thing's pacing for me. And I just wish that was shorter, because it made me. I kind of felt relieved that In a Cup of Tea was so short after that one, which gives a slightly sour aftertaste. Based on it, because this movie's supposed to. I mean, you've got to judge every movie on its own merits, and we can't really listen to what other people think of movies, and we have often disagreed with what other people's takes on movies have been. But this is, stone cold classic film, etc. But I was kind of like, yeah, it's good, with that high pitch of my voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's good. Oh, shit, it's good.
No, it's so. I'll
Would
try and
recommend
expand
it,
into random high-pitched ramblings that you've got going on. So the age is definitely a massive factor. First of all, this movie isn't scary. I don't even know.
God,
if it's
I didn't even. Yeah.
No. We are a horror
no,
podcast.
no,
We
no.
kind of have to mention that.
I do say in the intro, I don't just say scary, I say chilling and disturbing.
Okay, so this movie isn't scary, chilling, or disturbing. But the thing is, it can't fit into any other genre.
Yeah.
It is. It just is. It is a horror movie. You
Yeah.
call
It's
it
just
anything
so-
but a
it's just
horror
too
movie.
old.
But it's also the folktale aspect of it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
Not, it's
yeah.
not because it's not folklore. It's folk tales,
Yeah.
and they have already been written. And there's only so much you can do. And if you're basing it off a book that based it off stories, like if you start changing all that, what's the point in actually basing it off of anything?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to talk about that in the other films to watch, but I'll talk about it now, because we've watched a lot of horror films inspired by folklore. We'll probably watch more. But yeah, this is a direct folklore film. So when I was trying to think of movie, I could not come up with many or any like adaptations that felt this straight up folklore. The things I was thinking of were all twists on it, and some of the twists were very modern. Some so I was like, November, Hagazusa, The Wicker Man, probably. They're like the most direct comparisons I could make to this film, but I didn't really feel any of them were like doing it that much justice.
Yeah. No, I get that. I will say it is a movie made with an absolute incredible amount of care and devotion.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell this movie was made with passion. Like, everything that comes across on that screen was thought about and meticulously done. Except for the guy standing ankle deep in water.
And the thighs that aren't,
And the thighs aren't covered. Yeah, but that's just obviously nitpicking. But genuinely, this movie is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is very well acted. It is incredibly shot.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. And that's why that's why it always comes down to the weird part of rating movies. And that's not just us like rating movies here. That is just the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can see a movie's good but not enjoy it. You can see a movie's absolutely terrible but love it to bits.
And I would always rate it like that as well.
It's why I think that favourite and best are two different things.
Yeah.
Like, what's your favourite movie? What is your best movie?
Oh, come on. That's easy. 40-Year-Old Virgin and The Thing.
Yeah.
I remember The Thing. No, The 40-Year-Old Virgin was a joke.
No, but like, genuinely...
To be fair, I could watch The Thing again and again, though, because I have.
Yeah. No, but I would say that you are probably a rare case or haven't thought about it enough. No, I'm not meaning it like... I'm not meaning your opinion isn't right.
You fucking bastard.
But what I'm meaning is, like, your favorite... It could just be that your favorite movie is one you consider the best.
Yeah.
Like, The Thing is an excellently made movie. Don't look at contemporary reviews. But it's also your favorite movie, and that's great. But, like, if I put my list of, like, top movies, something like fucking Forgetting Sarah Marshall might be up there, because I enjoyed that movie. I had a fun time with that movie. And it... No, but it's...
I'm only pulling your little...
No, but
I'm only pulling your little ears off. Of course I do. It's something
I didn't paint them.
It's something that I've had to struggle with before in this show. Yeah, it is hard because at the end of it, I was kind of feeling a bit drained and like...
Yeah.
Would I watch that again?
One thing I will say is... No, God, no. But it is something that the 3-hour length does it a disservice. Like, it does. I don't know how I would have felt if I was watching this in the cinema. I always feel that longer movies... Yeah, there is an actual... That's the moment we both went, we'll watch that tomorrow. So, yeah. Yeah, no, it's... I think the 3-hour running time actually really does it a disservice. Yeah. I think that... As I said, with the first one, that deliberate pacing really, I enjoyed it at that time, but then when you're making 4 of them and putting them into one movie that someone is ostensibly going to watch in one sitting, that is where it starts getting. That's where I start struggling.
I generally think if they'd balanced the last 2, it might have been okay for me in terms of making In a Cup of Tea longer, but they probably couldn't because it's a slight story as it is. How are you going to expand that and not making Hoichi be so long?
Yeah.
It felt imbalanced. I could feel it
very much
feel
so.
it to my bones. I was like,
we've watched a lot of anthology movies.
Yeah, maybe you could just tell because you're like the last 2 were 45 minutes. It's been an hour. He's still singing. Bang.
Yeah, you get to the battle and you're like, wait, what? This is the story. So yeah, its age doesn't help, but it is still an excellent movie.
Yeah,
it's just one I struggled with.
Yeah, it's definitely like comparing it to The Devil Rides Out say that was fun and watchable.
Oh, aye.
And this is definitely less fun and watchable, although still fun in places. Mainly smiling.
For me, it
man.
like that comparison to November works quite well for me because it
That's 'cause
again
you didn't
a movie
like
that-
November though, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, because it was exactly that.
Joke.
No, but apart from the fucking idiot bit, exactly that. Like I saw that movie and I was in awe of it,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's very similar here.
Yeah,
Like
fair enough.
and it's why I'm really struggling to give it a score. Like
What can we say? It doesn't need our score, does it?
it doesn't. We're a drop in the ocean of one of the most famous Japanese.
So get your head
like,
out your arse and give it a score then. I'd give it.
For me, I'm probably going to go with a 6 for how I
was
felt
gonna
about
go
it.
a 7. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's but I would 100% put that with a caveat of do not let that put you off seeing this if you're interested in it.
I mean, yeah, but you'd have to be interested in old films, or if you're really into J horror and you're like, what were they doing in the 60s? I mean, it got acclaim at the time. It's still highly, highly regarded today for all the good things we said about it. But it's more like a shift at the office these days, unfortunately. But fucking hell, if you're a film student, you could probably study it for fucking ages and stuff. All that kind of stuff. I'm sure it could be very rewarding if it tickled your taste buds, but it didn't really tickle ours that much. That seems fair, doesn't it? That seems fair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
And
recommend it to anyone. Would you recommend this to anyone, really? Only if they said, I'm really into old movies and Japanese horror. I'd be like,
Japanese folk. No, if they
You've
said they
not
were into
seen
Japanese
Kwaidan.
horror, I
Who is
wouldn't
this
say
unicorn.
I would say I would say if they like Japanese folk tales.
Yeah.
If they're interested in like the Kappa and shit like that, then go and watch this movie.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a horror, this isn't it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is a lack of hilarious reviews.
Oh, God. It's just people saying it's boring and shit, and people saying I
No,
fucking love it.
I actually, on both IMDb and Amazon, I can't see any 1-star reviews.
To be fair, this is pretty niche. So I guess the people going out.
You say that.
I say that.
But on IMDb, it has 115 reviews. On Amazon, it has 271. We have watched movies with far less overall reviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems that there's not a lot of. Ms. H.S. Kelly says, "I love Japanese films, and what a great example."
Fine.
Yeah.
Does she have to shout at me the whole time?
She did. It's all caps. So,
fair enough.
What would you give? You've done that. What would you recommend?
I said, remember, Hagizusa, remember, The Wicker Man, etc., etc.
Yeah, but you also said it flip-flopping and
but I couldn't think of a film that the Brothers Grimm, like I don't know, all the horror movies I can think of take from folklore and then and so they're not actually based on folk tales directly that I can think of off the top of my head anyway.
For me, it doesn't as much. It's not as much folklore movies that have that kind of relationship to this as much as anthologies to a certain extent, but specific ones. And I think part of my problem is I thought at the end of this, see if this was 20, this was made in 2024, the year of our Lord. This would be a TV show. This would be a 4-part TV show. They would just put them all as single things.
All right.
You could not do that back in 1964. That would not have happened.
Yeah.
And that's why the two things that I actually think that
breaking the rules.
Yeah, 100%. If people wanted something similar to this or in the same vein, I would genuinely go for either Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Pinocchio.
No. If you mention Tom Hanks, I will get my ghost wife to murder you. And the Junji Ito anthology TV series.
Oh, I've not watched that.
Yep, the obviously not folklore.
I've read the manga. Sorry.
Yep, me too. Yeah, if you're looking for something more in that kind of like creepy, and it's like he's creating his own a lot of the time, especially, and this is just Junji Ito all over. It's like he does create his own kind of like mythology, his own folk tales essentially. Whereas like Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities is very much more like, here's some horror short, like they're half an hour to 45 minutes long, enjoy. Like, but Junji Ito's does have that feel, and it might be because I am an outsider looking at a Japanese production, but I really feel that like that comes across much more in the vein of something like Kwaidan, where it is these like, it's not about like all these just straight up like weird shits going on. It is about like ghosts and really deeply rooted in Japanese culture for one thing. And all has that kind of thematic take on everything.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
So yeah, completely breaking the rules, but I think it's the most appropriate.
Oh yeah, okay, you go off on a technicality. Jesus,
So that's the best way to get off, according to my lawyer.
You should try sucking on them titties. Right.
Oh my god, you have to, I'm going to bleep that every time just so people don't know what you're saying and think it's even worse.
Sucking on something. So, I think we can wrap that up, can't we?
Yeah.
So,
a neat little bow.
I was going to, I mean, you're aware of this, say that next we're going to do 1997. We're sticking around Japan for a while, right? There's a lot of...
We'll be in Asia for a while, let's just say.
Yeah. But when's Japan does have a, J-horror. I want to explore it a bit. There's quite a few films that I've not watched, J-horror wise, that I'd quite like to. Maybe one classic as well. But I was going to do 1997's Cure, which seems interesting to me because it's like a psychological horror like crime thing, apparently. I don't know anything about it, so it's fine. But then I remembered a film from 1977
oh great.
called House.
Cool.
Houseu, which is an experimental comedy horror film that I think you might either really enjoy or fucking hate.
I do enjoy those ones.
It's very, very weird, apparently. It's very, 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 very weird. And I don't think it was very well received when it came out. And I think now it's like a cult classic midnight movie thing. I don't know.
So are we doing Japan by the decade then?
Well, maybe not strictly by the decade, but I was like, if we're doing it chronologically, that makes sense to do House next. And then I'll briefly check the 80s and see. But I was like,
there's at least one.
House is kind of hard to come by though. So I genuinely ordered it off American Amazon for too much money. So that'll arrive in a couple of weeks.
And genuinely, if you're wondering why we're doing several episodes on Japan, you don't know a lot about Japanese horror because there's a fucking shit ton of it. It's like it's like giallo with Italy. Like, it's the embodiment of the country at certain times.
Yeah,
so
exactly. It's definitely, it's
Japanese horror is a thing.
It's very comparable to when we hung around Italy for a while. I feel it's, and also, like I say, there's genuinely a lot of Japanese horror movies I've not watched. Yeah. We went through a phase of watching all the big hitters, but doesn't mean there's not. And we might explore one of those big hitters again. Depends. I will say that I glanced over at my other screen here and just saw 3 words in the plot for House, which I didn't mean to look at. It just popped out at me. The words are bites, fantasies, buttocks. So,
what?
Yeah.
Biting
fantasy with capital
buttons.
F. So I assume fantasy is a person.
Oh, okay.
And their ass is getting bit. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's...
Love me a bit of ass munching.
Oh, no. So that'll be 1977's House. Not to be confused with there's an American series, House 1 to 4. Not them.
With Hugh Laurie?
No. That's doesn't matter. Do you want to try some fugu? It's been sitting here
yeah,
all day.
Yeah, go on. Out in the hot sun.
Yeah, oh, it's so
Yeah.
hot today. Oh, there's a lot of dead flies around it for some reason.
I heard that makes it means it's extra good.
There's a dead raccoon here as well. He's been gnawing on it. I don't know.
Wait, the dead raccoon's been gnawing on it. Jesus.
I'm no expert.
I didn't think the first ghost we'd see would be a raccoon.
Do you want to say goodbye in Japanese?
No,
You
not
can't
really.
remember.
I can't remember, mate.
You can't remember.
No. What is it?
Now I'm second guessing
Yeah,
myself. 'Cause I'm like,
uh-huh.
It is that, right? Surely.
Go on.
No, I'm scared.
No, I want you after the shit you just gave me to go.
It's
just
sayonara.
find it out.
It's sayonara. Sayonara.
Sayonara.
Sayonara, sucker.
Yeah, that's what they
Bye.
say. That's what they say. Christ, I'll be happy for this fucking figure.
Bye. Bye.